Can you hear me, Kent?
All right, Coach Smith, I see you on. How are you today?
All right.
Okay, we'll go ahead and if everybody's ready to go, we'll go ahead and open it up for with an opening statement, and then we'll open up for questions today.
Okay. We're kind of back in the office today. Just kind of recapping, Friday night's game. Disappointing game. You assume you're in a different place going into the season than we assumed we were in a different place going into the season, and how the game turned out. Thought we were more prepared to play a better football game than we did. Not much, of course. I know I'm kind of, you know, talking about some of the obvious things that happened. Offensively, it's pretty simple. When you don't score any points offensively and you give up 45 points defensively, no matter how it happens, not a good day at the office. But for us, it counts as one game. And, normally you get to the first game and you truly see where you are. And as I say, we're not as far along as I hope we would be, but we still have time to get there. When you have an effort like that, you can't wait to play as soon as possible. So we watched the video with our team, and now it's moving on to Purdue. I'll take your questions. From the game, we had some injuries. Jake Hansen, of course, didn't finish the football game, and Daniel Bebe didn't play the game. Devin Witherspoon didn't play the game. Isaiah Gay was suspended for the game. So we had some players out. Can't really talk on where they are right now, but hopefully we can get as many of the players as possible back to play as I said, a Purdue team that had a big win against Iowa this past week. Take your questions.
Okay, we'll start with Scott Beatty first, and then Bob Osmussen on deck.
Good afternoon, Coach. Starters, Wisconsin's quarterback reportedly tested positive for COVID. Are you aware of any impact that has on your team or the week coming forward here?
Well, we're just getting news like, you are. As far as how it's impacting our football team, we test every day. We don't have any positives, so it hasn't affected us right now, but we're aware of the story that you have.
And then turning to Purdue, what have you gleaned from their game and what you might expect from them this Saturday?
Well, we had a chance to see the game, and outstanding game by them to be behind and come back and play hard throughout. They had injuries, and, starting running back didn't play. Next guy moved up and played outstanding ball. Best player on our team didn't play. Of course, without him, they found a way to win, even though Bale is as good as anyone in his own right. So it's pretty impressive how they won the game, competing and playing without their coach. So did a lot of games. Of course, we don't need a real good football team to get our attention based on how we play, but that's exactly what I see us getting, a real good football team that's got confidence, and we'll need to definitely step our football game up this week.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Okay, Bob, you're up. Joe's on deck, and then Jeremy.
Coach, when you looked at the film defensively, what were you seeing? What was going wrong? What was the disconnect there?
There's a lot of disconnect, Bob. We busted coverages. We didn't get enough pressure. Thought we played the run fairly well. The run wasn't as much of a factor. Normally you go into a game, some of the things you really are concerned about everything, but it should be more tackling, since there's not a whole lot of live tackling. But the mental part of it, I just thought we would be further along. And when you have guys catching touchdown passes and uncontested, that's not a good start. When you turn the football over early on the road, it's not a good start. So it was more things like that.
Did that stuff surprise you, given that you hadn't played in so long? I mean, I know both teams were rusty, but were you not surprised by how that work played out?
Well, they weren't really rusty, so we have to be further along than that. So did it surprise me that we performed like that? Yes, it did. We won't continue to play football like that. We're better than that. We're a better football team than that. I'm a better coach than that. I got to get my team ready to go better than that, and I will.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Okay, Joe, you're up. Jeremy on deck, and then Robert in the hole.
Hi, Coach. Joe Hownick, Purdue Exponent, Student Newspaper. Aiden O'Connell has kind of shown himself to be a bit of a comeback artist in the last few games that he's played. How important is it for your team to be able to stay consistent late in the game, and how much emphasis do you put on that in practice?
I'm sorry, one more time. You're cutting out a little bit there.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, now I can.
All right. Sorry about that. I was just saying Aiden O'Connell has shown himself to be a bit of a comeback artist in the last few games he's played. How important is it for your team and your defense to stay consistent late in the game, and how much emphasis do you put on that in practice?
Well, we put a lot of emphasis on practice, of course, to start fast, finish strong. As far as his play, they have a tough scheme to go against. I talked about what the running back did, of course, last week. Just overall, passing game, throw that into it. They have excellent receivers. But first for us, it's more about just we didn't take care of business. Before we can start thinking about opponents, just doing what we're supposed to do and getting ourselves in position to compete at the highest level. And so once we do that, I kind of feel good about whoever we play against, and hopefully that'll be the case this week.
Hey, Jeremy, go ahead, Joe. You have another one?
Yeah, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
You've touched on this a little bit, but how much of a threat do you see in Purdue's receiving core, especially with the possibility of Rondale coming back?
Without Rondale, and I mentioned Bale earlier, I mean, he was as good a freshman receiver as there was last year, and the rest of their receivers, I might add. So I think they have an excellent receiving core without Rondale. If you put, possibly one of the best receivers in college football into that mix, of course, you can understand the problems that they would present. And that's what we're expecting. I know he missed last week, but, he looked like he was, ready to play the second week to me next, as I saw him on the sideline this weekend. But, again, he'll be a challenge. He's one of the best players in college football, and we're preparing like he'll be able to play this week.
One more, if that's okay. Kind of tangentially, who or what is the biggest threat on Purdue's defense, and how is the offense preparing for that this week?
Well, I hadn't had a chance to look at as much of their defense right now. What you have to be impressed with is just how they played overall. I mean, throughout. Made plays up front. I've had a relationship with Lorenzo Neal, the dad, for a long period of time, so I kind of know him a little bit better. But I thought linebackers, while they have an outstanding defensive end, front seven is pretty impressive. You start with it, and normally that makes it a lot better for the back end.
All right, thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Okay, Jeremy, you're up. Robert's on deck. Jim, and then Alessandra in the hole.
Good afternoon, Lovey. Rod Perry obviously made a good first impression. I know you guys expected that, but what makes him a good Big Ten defensive tackle and one that the next level is interested in?
Well, first off, Jeremy, thanks for bringing up Rod, because there's not a whole lot of positive things I could really talk about from how we played defense this past week, but Rod was one. He's got a low center of gravity. I mean, he's extremely strong. He's got good quickness. Just everything you're looking for in an interior lineman he has. But we needed for him to get out. Now, he practices against an outstanding center and guards each day. So I think it was good for him to just see how he kind of matches up a little bit against other competition, but very pleased with how he played. That was a good coming out party for him. That's what gives us hope, getting Jake back out there and just getting that, defensive line back together a little bit. because we have to play better, of course, in our front seven.
And then not so positive, obviously, the offense. What concerned you most? Because I mean, time of possession has been a problem for you guys, maybe the last year and a half or so. What concerned you most after that game?
Well, first going to look at how we ran the football. I mean, we talk about taking the ball away on the defensive side. Can't turn the ball over. That put us in a hole right away. But not being able to consistently run the football put you in a hole a little bit too. But if a team is stopping the run, I mean, we have an excellent passer in Brandon, and we have to be able to get the ball to our receivers. I mean, our receivers weren't a factor. Our tight ends really weren't a factor. It's just, what concerns me is just our overall play on the defensive side, similar to what I'm talking about on the defensive side of the same concerns I have on the offensive side. But that was the first week. We're better than that too. And I know we'll see a lot better showing this week.
And just quickly for clarity, Daniel Maturbebe injury, that's why he was out?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you, Love.
You see, it's my first time. I wouldn't normally talk about injuries, but I guess I slipped and said that. Had an injury, he should be good to go this week.
Just wanted to make sure it was an injury. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, Robert, you're up.
Yeah, Coach, in your introductory press conference back in 2016, you referred to this. The quote was, you saw yourself entering the fourth quarter of your career, that, you expected to be here a while, and this was the fourth quarter. So I guess given the start of the fifth season, how do you evaluate how that fourth quarter is going so far?
Well, I'm normally everything is decided in the fourth quarter. So to me, it's the start. Did I say the start of my fourth quarter season?
Yeah, I believe the quote.
That's what I'm saying now. If I didn't, that's what I'm saying now. So this is the start of the fourth quarter, and there's a lot of promise for us finishing strong in this fourth quarter. That's how I see us going right now. I'm excited about this season of the fourth quarter, the early part of the fourth quarter. So, I mean, that's kind of where I was excited then, 2016, a long time ago. More excited right now. That's how I kind of see it. Can't wait for the future.
And you talked about how you saw this season, in the offseason, that so much was building toward this. You didn't get a really first recruiting class until 2017, and you couldn't play your first recruits until your second season. They're seniors now. How would you evaluate the progress of everything at this point?
I think we made a whole lot of progress, and now I know how we played the opening game of the season, but they're going to let us play more football this year, so I'm really excited about that. Everything I said, we're building then. The recruiting class, yes. We have a senior class now that's going to play outstanding ball. I believe all of that still. Can't wait to see that come to a reality this year, and hopefully starting this week, game 2 of this football season, which you normally see improvement on game 2. That's what I'm hoping for this week.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, Alessander, you're up. Matt Stevens on deck. Kedrick, you're in the hole.
Hi, Lovey. You said on Friday that you kind of have a better sense of where your team is now that you've seen the game footage. Just what are some of the things that you're going to really work on this week during practice?
I don't want to run from your question, but I mean, just about everything. I mean, and as I told the team, when we don't score any points and we give up 45, I mean, we've all looked in the mirror and we have to work on everything. It's where we are. So, and that's exactly what we're doing. I mean, I think our net punt was pretty good. Maybe kickoff coverage was pretty good. Besides that, it's everything. I thought the opening game would show us that we're a lot further along than we really are. But I'm anxious to see how much improvement now we truly have, because you really don't know once you're going through and you practice against each other, especially how we've been practicing and all. You have to get to the first game, and then you can see exactly how much improvement you can make going into that second game. That's what I'm anxious to see. I think it's really good, too, since we're playing in our conference where there's something at stake. We have a cannon. This is a trophy game. There's so much at stake. So I know we're going to play a lot better than we did last week, and I can't wait for that.
Okay, Matt Stevens, you're up. Kedrick, on deck.
Lovey, obviously, in 17 and in 18, you played a lot of young players who are now juniors and seniors. You made that very evident and made that point very, very clear. My question is this program now at a depth point where if you have to make personnel changes in these next couple of weeks because of the way you're playing or the way they're practicing, are you in a better position you feel like that you can do that with guys that are maybe second teamers or even third teamers?
Yes, we have more depth in our program. But I'm going to go back. We were all disappointed in how we played, but I haven't given up on anybody that is the reason why we put them at the start of the line. And we're all going to play better. This week is going to give us a better indication on exactly where we are. But do we have more depth to play, give other people an opportunity if we just don't like what we have playing? Yes. And I would say that pretty much to a position. We have options at those positions.
My other follow-up quick is I feel like I'm going to get the Brandon is our quarterback answer, so I apologize, Lovey, but are you satisfied?
Before you say it, I can stop you. Brandon is our quarterback answer. So since you say you know that, I mean, yes, Brandon is our quarterback.
Are you satisfied with how the
rotation? Let me just finish. And Jake Hansen
Okay.
is our linebacker. And all of our other guys, we're not making any major changes based on one game where we all didn't perform the way we will, starting with the head football coach. Now your question was what again now?
Are you satisfied after looking at the film as to how the rotation worked with Brandon and Isaiah and how you were able to implement that?
Well, we wanted to get Isaiah. Okay, let me go back there. We wanted to get Isaiah a couple plays. Brandon is our quarterback. We had a package where we were using Isaiah a little bit. We may do that again this week, but that has nothing. That's just a little change up is all that is. Brandon is going to play outstanding football for us this year.
Thanks, Lovey.
The rest
Appreciate
of the
it.
group. You're welcome.
Okay, Kedrick, you're up. Joey Wagner, on deck.
Hi, Coach. Quick question here. I guess when you go back and look at the game film, do you think it was more your inability to score? Do you think it was Wisconsin's defense, or do you think it was more what you guys were trying to do on offense that you couldn't accomplish?
I think it's always a combination of both. I mean, you have to give Wisconsin credit. They're an outstanding defense. They played that way. They kind of dominated us. They shut us out. We didn't score any points. So you have to start with them. In order for that to happen, though, we have to say that we left plays out there. I mean, we didn't convert, 3/4 down we didn't convert on. Well, I felt like we needed to get something going a little bit. So we're going to say that we had opportunities, and that's normally the case, though. But we definitely had opportunities to do more than we did in this game offensively.
Okay, follow-up question with that. It seems like a lot of teams in the last 4 or 5 games, and from going back to last year and to last Friday night, teams are using the tight ends against you quite a bit. And are you guys looking to shore that up this weekend or for the upcoming games? Because it looks like teams are starting to exploit that a little bit more than what they have been.
I don't know if I'll agree with that, number one. I think are teams using the tight end? Yeah. Wisconsin has one of the best tight ends in college football. And we didn't do some things that we should have where he was kind of wide open a few times. That's not good, but he's an outstanding football player just in general. But we're going to play good tight ends each week. We had trouble with some of the receivers also. So I just wouldn't say that it's tight end. I think just our overall play in general just didn't, lend us to being able to play good defense.
Okay, Joey Wagner, you're up, and Nico on deck.
Good afternoon, Lovey. You mentioned you guys weren't as far along as you'd hoped you would be. How do you, over the course of now to Saturday, get closer to that point or get to that point?
Guys, it's pretty simple on what you do. You go back to practice. I mean, that's what we're going to do. We're going to practice better this week. After loss, after win, you evaluate what you did wrong or what you did right, and then go back to the practice field. That's what we're going to do. When you play your first game, that's when you really see where you are. That's when you can really start, making improvements that you need to based on what is real now. And when it's the first time, it's just hard to really know that. So that's what we're doing. We're going to have a great week of practice. We're going to get some of our guys back. Hopefully we'll be as healthy as we can possibly be and as close to full force as we can be. And going to coach better and we're going to play better. It's just not one little thing. I wish I could just tell you this or that, but it's everything is what we're going to do.
And then last season, you guys had, a couple disappointing losses. Then obviously that midseason turnaround that led to a bowl game. Does that experience, that rebound, does that play into a factor in, taking that step and moving forward?
I definitely think when you've gone through an experience before, history will allow you to know that this is how it can turn out. And in our case, yes, we have been through that. Our team has been through that. When you talk about, we talk about all those guys that have played so much football, they've been through every situation. And then if you just look to last year, there were a few disappointing, every loss was disappointing, but there were a few. And then I got to catch myself on that. When you play like that, it's all negative. But Tariq Barnes was a positive. He graded out well. Jake Hansen is going to be out there the majority of the time when he's healthy. But to step in like he did was pretty impressive. He fits the profile on what we want to play with linebacker-wise. He's extremely bright and smart. He can run. He's under 11 flat, 100 meters guy, got good size. But he needed to play, though, and play well in a game situation. He did that. Everybody kind of, you saw the touchdown that he got, and really he was a part of knocking the ball away, picking it up, and scoring. That's pretty special play, but he had others. He had a big sack and then a couple of good tackles. So when you get your opportunity, you need to show people that, that, hey, I can help this team win, and he did that. In order to when we get Jake back, of course, that would allow, when you lose a player like Jake too, that Tariq was a core special teams player. So you lose one guy with that also. So hopefully this can kind of get us back and get everybody in their rightful position a little bit too. But if we have to play Tariq Barnes again, feel real good about it. Maybe even this week.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Hey,
Alex,
Coach.
go ahead.
Thanks, Ken. Hey, Coach. It's a question, I guess. You mentioned that Daniel Matter-Bebe missed last week's game against Wisconsin. How important is he to your tight end rotation and just getting all those guys, I guess, the reps or the opportunities that you're looking for on a weekly basis in the offense?
Well, he's very important. He's a good football player. We brought him here to help us, win football games, and he can do that. But for that to happen, though, offensively, we got to be able to get more plays. We got to get those conversions going. You got to be able to sustain drives, and there's a lot of people that we would like to get involved. We have 3 outstanding tight ends. We have running backs, wideouts. We're able to get them the ball. So in order for that to happen, though, we have to have more sustained drives. And we'll get back to that, making that happen this week.
Is getting those sustained drives maybe a key to getting another tight end like Luke Ford back involved with the offense a little bit more moving forward? I know that's something that you've talked a lot about, is how important he is to your offense.
Daniel Barker, Luke Ford, Daniel Baby, there's 3 tight ends. I mean, it's hard. And we've got running backs. There's a lot of people to get involved. We need to do what we need to do to win football games. So we'll get back to that this week.
Okay, and then we'll wrap up today with Marley. Final question from Marley.
Hey, Coach, first game that you guys will have fans. How do you think you guys will feel about that? Will that be kind of a little bit of a morale boost for you guys?
Marley, this week it was different, and so it seemed like there's going to be a lot of things that have a different feel this week. But anytime you get a chance to, number one, play at home, that's special. And I know there'll be a lot less people, but, for our players, their, parents will be there, and that is unique. So we're excited about it. When you get, you have a game like we had last week, you want to come back home and where you feel more familiar with everything, and that'll be the case this week. Can't wait.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Well, I guess Kent must have taken a break there. So I will see y'all another day.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking all muted up. Sorry about that. No, thanks, Coach. Rod Smith will be joining us here in just a moment, and appreciate your time today.
All right. Take care.
Appreciate it, Levy.